Hey guys, Technomentary with a video for you guys. In today's video, we're going to talk about which storage side would be best for you. We're going to compare the 4 storage side and tell you guys how much photos and videos you can record with each of the sizes if you do decide to get it. As you know, the iPhone 13 Pro and the Pro Max comes in 4 different sizes and 4 different price points, but it's kind of tricky when you're trying to decide which model you should get. And hopefully after this video you'll have a good idea, as we'll explain and walk you through which one is going to be making sense for you to buy specifically for your needs. So let's dive into today's video. As you can see here, the Pro and the Pro Max of course comes in 4 different colors, the new Sierra Blue, and then also for the very first time it comes in that 1 terabyte size model as well. So that's the biggest Apple has released up to so far, up to 12. They have released 512 gig, and then 1 terabyte finally came out, and that's something we wanted to discuss in this video. So if you're looking at the price point, just to take that out of the equation, of course the more you go in space size, the more you're going to pay. Starting with, for the Pro model itself here that we have, if you have 128 gig model, you're paying $9.99. So that's base price. Of course there's tax as well. Then you can also get it in the 256 gig model for another $100 or more, so that's $10.99. And then 512 gig you're paying $12.99, so $200 jump when you're going to the 512 gig. And lastly, the 13 Pro does come in that 1 terabyte, which is $14.99, almost $1,500 if you want to max out the amount of storage. Again, does that make sense for you? Well, in a second we're going to discuss that. And then if you go up to the Pro Max, which is the bigger size phone, now you're paying more in terms of even the base one. So 128 gig on the Pro Max starts at $10.99, so $100 more than the base of that Pro. And then for your 256 gig you're paying $11.99, and then 512 gig you're paying about $13.99, and finally that 1 terabyte you're paying $15.99, so almost $1,600 that you can be spending if you really want to go the biggest size in terms of the actual physical size and the storage size. Of course, there's also the option of getting cloud storage on top of the local storage. So there's difference between local storage of these phones is how much you can actually store on the phone without buying any cloud storage. Again, there's also the ability to buy cloud storage. Now, if you're buying cloud storage, there's 3 different options with the Apple Plus cloud program. You have that 50 gig we can buy additionally for 99 cents a month, and then you have 200 gig which you can pay $2.99, and then 2 terabyte which you pay $9.99, so almost $10 a month extra that you can be paying. Now that's if you're going to be backing up everything on your all of your devices to the cloud. Again, it's a personal preference between local storage, meaning what is on the actual phone, versus if you're putting stuff on the cloud so you can get it across your devices. Again, this video we're going to talk about the local storage. So if you're not using the cloud, you're simply just keeping all of your stuff, your photos, videos, apps, data on the phone itself. So why might you consider buying the 128 gig besides the fact that it is the cheapest model out there? Well, if you're buying the 128 gig, that's going to be a couple reasons why you would choose that. That's if you're just mostly streaming all of your movies, music on the phone. If you don't really plan on shooting 4K videos on your iPhone 13 or the 13 Pro Max, then it might make sense for you to just stick with the 128 gig. And then the other thing, the reason why you would choose 128 gig is that if you take photos and videos here and there, you're not really actively crazy about taking photos and videos. So here and there you might take a shot or two, maybe a little video clip, maybe one picture you think something is cool. You're not a regular person that's really utilizing the camera, because the camera, by the time you use it, it's going to fill up. So in terms of the actual numbers, even 128 gig, let's say if you just didn't have anything else, you didn't have any other apps besides the default apps that are all downloaded, you can theoretically put up to 3,500 photos on that 128 gig. Again, that's if you didn't have anything else, so you didn't have photos, videos, books, anything. Just by itself, 128 gigs, it can fit about 35,000 photos. And in terms of if you just simply did recording, so if you want to straight up record videos and in 1080p, you're going to be able to record 45 hours of video. So that's going to be 45 hours of just that HD 1080 video, 45 hours. So 35,000 photos and 45 hours at that 128 gig. Now, if you went and, well, let's say you wanted to get the next bigger one, which is going to be the 256 gig, you decide to pay $100 more. How much photo and video can you do that? Well, for that one, it's going to be 70,000 photos that you can put on your phone, and then about 98 hours of, again, 1080 HD videos on the phone. So that's going to be for your 256 gig. And why might you consider the 256 gig? Again, someone that considers a 256 gig, you like to store photos and music here and there, and it's more often. You do plan on shooting 4K videos. 4K does take up a lot more of your size, but it still is enough. And that's something you would choose. Let's say if you go to your phone storage and you currently see in your storage setting, like your current phone, let's say you are at that 128 gig, so you're using up all that gig, you probably want to go with the 256 gig. That's someone that would probably want to be considering, because you're almost getting to your current phone maxing out. Now let's go into the 512 gig. Again, that's the gig that was available on the iPhone 12 model, and it's another big size one. And 512 gig by no means is a small amount of gig. That's almost half a terabyte of gig. So why would you consider 512 gig besides, again, paying extra $200 on the top of that 256 gig model? Well, a couple reasons there. If you like to store a lot of even movies and music and photos and videos, 512 gig makes a lot more sense for you. And if you prefer to keep it locally, and if you do plan on shooting 4K, both 4K ProRes as well, and that's going to be a reason why you go with it. So if you're going to be storing like movies, like music, and a lot of videos, 512 gig makes a lot more sense for you. And at 512 gig, theoretically, if you were to fill up the phone, again, nothing besides just the photos and stuff, you can put up to 125,000 photos. And if you're thinking about videos, just purely on videos, you can record up to about 250 hours of video in 1080p, again, for that 512 gig. So 512 gig and massive. Now let's say you just wanted to go absolutely crazy and go with that 1 terabyte. That's the new storage, the biggest, baddest out there, paying that $1,500 or $1,600 for the Pro Max. How much can you store? Again, this is someone who's really going to be using the battery, the phone's camera, again, sorry, extremely a lot. You're just going to be maxing out. You're a professional photographer. You just like to shoot all the time, take videos and photos constantly. That's where the 1 terabyte really makes sense, if you're really going to be utilizing the photo of your phone much. And because at 1 terabyte, if you really were to put up all the photos that you can possibly load up to, you can load up to 250,000 photos on your device. Now that's 256,000 photos. Again, photos do fill up, but that makes sense. Now if you're traveling a lot, probably recommend getting somewhere between the 512 gig to that 1 terabyte one. And now if you wanted to record video, you get a whopping 500 hours of 1080 video on that 1 terabyte. Again, that seems like huge in terms of it. Again, it's going to come down to really a decision on, are you someone that takes a photo here and there, that 128 gig will get you by. And if you're looking at the best way to determine which one you to get, is just go into general and then iPhone storage and take a look at your current phone that you have. So let's say your current phone, you're hitting that close to 128 gig. You might want to think about getting the next bigger size for the iPhone 13 or the 13 Pro Max. Now let's say you're hitting that, you have the 256 currently, and you're hitting that 256, go up to 512 gig. Now let's say you got the 512 gig and you're like at 400 or 500 already using up that space. Think about getting the biggest 1 terabyte. That's how we would go making the decision. And if you're new to iPhone, again, it's simply note that 128 gig is a light user, someone taking photo here and there. Up to, if you're a medium user, probably go with the 256 gig or 512 gig. Finally, if you're a professional and someone that travels a lot, just takes photos all the time and uses their phone a whole lot, that 1 terabyte makes the most sense for you. So that's kind of our review between these devices in terms of which size you should get. Want to hear from you guys, what size you guys have, what's your experience like. Leave a comment in the comment section, and while you're at it, make sure that like and subscribe button if this video is helpful. Thanks for watching, guys. See you guys next time.